Take a big, slow, deep breath in through your nose, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly exhale and push that breath and all the stress and tension out of your body. 4, 3, 2, 1. That calm you're feeling right now? That's what you get with HubSpot. Their all-on-one customer platform replaces the chaos of all those random tools you're using now with a single, powerful platform for all your teams. Get everyone on the same frequency and boost output. Take care of the tedious stuff with AI-powered tools, generate better leads for marketing, close more deals for sales, and earn more 5-star reviews for service. So don't hold your breath. Enjoy the zen that HubSpot brings to growing your business. Visit HubSpot.com to learn more today. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, June 14th. I'm John Weigell here with Ben Berkley, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Everybody loves a slice of pizza, myself included, but the pizza industry has just been deemed a slow growth market per Nation's Restaurant News. The business of sauce cheesy triangles isn't what it used to be during its pandemic boom period, and now the industry is seemingly stagnating across the board, from Pizza Hut to Geno's, because, we all probably have a Geno's in our town somewhere, I'm assuming. So how did this happen, and can pizza ever get back to that pie in the sky? We'll chat about that in a bit, but first, let's give you the hits and headlines in business and tech. To start us off today, UK retailers filed an about $1.3 billion class action lawsuit against Amazon, claiming it undercuts third-party sellers by releasing and promoting cheaper versions of their most popular products. What do you think about this, Ben?
I mean, this topic is nothing new. Amazon's been under fire for this very thing for probably almost a decade now. For their part, we should mention that they have dismissed this suit as baseless, as every company that has ever been sued has to say. But, it is a historic action. I think this is the biggest class action suit in UK history from retailers. And obviously $1.3 billion is a whole lot of money and will be in court for a long time. But if the last many years in court hasn't shifted Amazon on their tactics and squeezing small businesses, it's hard to imagine this would either.
Yeah, I guess Amazon's like the big giant in the field, but if I'm the UK, these retailers, I'm also thinking about places like Temu and a bunch of others that are probably doing the same exact thing. So I understand why Amazon's been singled out, but from what you said, this is probably going to take a long time to settle, even if it ever does.
Yes, and also should mention, as I'm sitting here, my phone is charging on an Amazon Basics charging cord. So we're all complicit if we're shopping with Amazon.
Indeed, we are. Over to LinkedIn. LinkedIn added AI job hunting tools for hashtag open to work premium subscribers, including the option to let AI handle your applications and cover letters. And honestly, I bet AI hates writing those just as much as I do. Over to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo fired over 12 employees last month, claiming they were using devices to simulate keyboard and mouse activity instead of actually working. So, Ben, I guess my question for you is, do you also do this ever?
We live in this remote work world, and there are mouse jiggling devices that are sold for $20. So it is obviously happening. I cannot claim to be one of the ones doing it. Please be listening, bosses. I'm doing all my work every day. But, this is interesting because this is a dozen people in the same department getting found out, which, wow. I think this is just a nightmare for everyone, not just at Wells Fargo when something like this happens, because it's just going to erode trust between employers and employees. And that's far beyond Wells Fargo. Every executive is going to just they're going to see this and they're going to wonder about their own workforce and maybe start to clamp down a little bit, just that little bit more that just kind of pisses off their team. So wild to do that and think that you're going to get your paycheck forever doing that.
I mean, just the effort put into just buying a device to jiggle your mouse and keyboard and set that up every day rather than just doing the work you have to do is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I think on both fronts, there's maybe employers have to lay off a little more, but also maybe workers should also work sometimes, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like this is going to be like when one bar in town gets busted for not carding everyone, and then every bar within a few miles just turns examining IDs into feels like it's like a wartime border crossing or something. It's just like so intense. This just feels like that could be some workplaces after reading about this.
Yeah, I just hope that doesn't bring back the whole clock in, clock out thing. That is just miserable. Jeez.
Right?
At all costs, avoid. Okay, on to Fox Sports. Fox Sports is now going to air the Indy 500. NBC Sports had the deal with IndyCar for 16 years, but it ditched its NBCSN channel in 2021, moving most sports to Peacock or other cable channels. And finally, the 73,000 fans at Taylor Swift's Edinburgh concert last Friday danced so hard that the British Geological Survey recorded seismic activity from 3.7 miles away. Her 17-show UK tour is projected to add $1.2 billion to the country's economy. But man, it is also adding small earthquakes, it seems.
Yeah, I was reading about just like the specifics of this, and the crowd maxed out at 23 nanometers of movement, which is way less than, an actual earthquake. But it was definitely strong considering that's like 10 nanometers more than Beyonce or Springsteen got from their crowds at the same venue. But we should say a Harry Styles concert last year nearly hit 31 nanometers. So a significant lead here. So, we know the economic impact of Swifties cannot be topped. But for once, this is a record they did not set.
There you go. Good for Harry and all those young Gen Z fans just moving around the place. Okay, on to the main story today. It's time to talk about pizza. The industry has reportedly stagnated a bit and just can't seem to accelerate its growth. We'll go over why that could be, but first, Ben, I want to start with if you could tell us some details about pizza's unfortunate stunted growth lately.
Yeah, so, first off, let's just say pizza's fine. Pizza's great, but like the business of it, ultimately fine. Every year, there's a food data and market research firm called Technomic, which releases this huge annual report on chain restaurant financials. And, this has been a thing for 50 years now. So it goes back, always really a lot of eyes on it. One of the big takeaways from this newest report is that very familiar name at the very bottom of the list, which is pizza as the category which showed the slowest sales growth among everything. Every type of restaurant out there. So, last year, pizza only gained like 3% in sales, which is less than the industry average, which was just over 7%. So on the surface, it feels absurd and almost impossible. Like this is the quintessential favorite food. It's everywhere. It's all ages. It's pizza. So, wow. Surprised that this is a thing.
Yeah, I think that the light at the end of the tunnel here is that it's not exactly decline. As you said, pizza is fine. I feel like that's a good meme to insert here. Pizza is fine. But the growth of pizza isn't exactly what it used to be, considering that it had quite a boom period a few years ago. But now it's growing, but just a little slower. And does that kind of translate as well to the Domino's and Pizza Huts and Papa John's and Little Caesars of the world?
I think it's a bit of an uneven story. I think you can look at this just like in the macro sense, the industry is stuck in place. There are, of course, still growth stories underneath that. Domino's, their rate of growth isn't astronomical compared to other times in its history, but it's perpetually crushing it. Like it's Domino's. They, especially with all of their online ordering tech, they're miles beyond everyone else there. And then you can look at smaller chains like Mod Pizza and Jets Pizza. They're growing steadily. But then you can see the pain, so to speak, with like chains like Pizza Hut and Papa John's, which had this nominal growth last year and then saw sales dips to start this year. And even frozen pizza, which has been just like up and up in sales for a very long time, they're starting to sputter a little bit. The leader in that field, which is DiGiorno, that was also down a little bit last quarter.
So we have all these pizza companies that are in varying levels of some crisis, some not so crisis, aka Domino's. But at the end of the day, it seems like pizza is not growing as much as it used to. And why do you think that is? What's the problem that they're having that maybe has them so stagnated?
It's really just competition. There are more options than ever in more places across more cuisines. And specifically, there are faster options in all categories. Like delivery and takeaway, that's been pizza's bread and sauce, I guess, for decades now. It wins because it's fast, it's easy, it's cheap. It's like a low effort crowd pleaser. But then you kind of find every other chain investing in convenience. They're expanding delivery, takeaway orders. They're speeding up their drive-through orders. They're enhancing their apps, their whole digital ordering process. So like Big Pizza, it's not in decline. It's just finding itself on a tougher battlefield when it comes to growth.
Yeah, and it seems to be up against a lot of companies that are very good at doing things fast and very quickly and conveniently and have gotten better at doing that, like a Taco Bell, for example, or like a Wendy's. Fast food companies in that category have been kind of dominating that field for a while, but now it seems like they're kind of gaining even more traction on pizza, which is just really odd.
Yeah, I think Taco Bell's a really interesting case because they are the champs of the drive-thru. They are built for speed. They've got the fastest service times. It's less than 5 minutes. People get in and out. They're making less money per order than, say, Little Caesars, almost certainly, almost every time. But that doesn't really matter to Little Caesars. What matters to them is, assuming they're playing to the same populace, the quickest, cheapest, and most satisfying nourishment at the end of a day. Taco Bell's siphoning off more and more of those meals that are eaten out of house. And it's obviously not just Taco Bell. Even categories are growing, like the Sweet Greens and Kavas of the world are expanding. Like Panero to go is a thing. Chick-fil-A and Popeyes are de-emphasizing their dining rooms and doing more in this convenient space. It's just fierce out there.
Yeah, it sounds fierce. And, other than these chains are the local businesses because, a lot of pizza places don't have an app. Slice, I think, is probably the closest thing we have now to an app that goes with local pizza vendors. But, a lot of these places you mentioned, like Sweet Green, Cava, like it's very easy to pre-order on this app. Just go right there and pick it up or have someone deliver it to your door.
Right.
And with apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats, all that stuff, it's kind of easier than ever to get whatever you want. So maybe pizza's kind of losing in that popularity game as well.
Yeah, I think if you're not investing there, you're going to be behind very soon. If you are, you're going to have to keep investing and keep improving because everyone else is we're just like in a convenient food arms race. And I guess that's good for someone who would like to not cook dinner every night and also not, lose all my savings on one salad. But, the next year for pizza is going to be fun to kind of chart and come back and see, did they recover or is this just kind of going to be their story going forward?
Yeah, it seems like pizza businesses got to invest more in convenience. And maybe the other side of that is investing in something absolutely ridiculous that'll bring people in droves. Like I know you mentioned in your article, Biloxi pizza, the Mississippi style pizza with French dressing.
Yeah.
Crazy that that's blowing up the way it is, but maybe that's just what has to happen to get people back into the pizza market.
Yeah. I think it hasn't blown up just quite yet, but I think it's going to the second that more people start really thinking about French dressing on pizza. Like I'm struggling with it personally. I'm a very equal opportunity pizza topping person. I'm cool with pineapple. I know that's a really live wire. I don't putting myself on some like watch list for just saying that, but I don't know about French dressing. So there's just, I don't know. Are you going to eat that?
I'll try it. I can't not try it now. I've heard about it and yeah, I feel like you could just make it at home. So I think two ingredients, pizza and French dressing when you break it down. So not that hard, but won't make me, I guess, go out and buy pizza in the near future. But I hope the pizza industry bounces back and I'm sure we'll take a look at this next year and just have a whole big laugh about it.
We sure will. And if we have to order pizza when we're doing it, so be it.
All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed to it, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you later.